RPG 그대로의 RPG 불멸의 전사 2.
But I wouldn't be surprised if Super does win. But as I said, I think GuMiho is the favorite.
Yeah. Well, guys, we had some delays before. It looks like we might be jumping right into game number 2 here. Super wearing the wrist guards. Hope he's not hurting too much here.
Yeah, I think they help because a lot of players, they keep their wrist on the edge of the table, and that's actually really bad for your health, I guess. So having those wrist guard and GuMiho with his trademark towel, I believe the condition's called hyperhidroxis.
Something like that, yeah.
That's why we're calling him Towel Terran.
He is the Towel Terran. We'll see if he can wipe the tears of Super after he takes this one. It's definitely possible that Super could take it with a weird build. Orbital Shipyard, not a bad map for Protoss. But as you can see, GuMiho has been doing better in 2016 so far.
Yeah, and actually similar Pentagons here. Both the coaches believe that their players are of similar skill levels, so the head-to-head record, actually, that's quite a lot of games they've played against each other, 13 to 10 in favor of Super. But these guys have been around since the start of Starcraft 2, so I'm not surprised with this statistic.
Yeah, a lot of these statistics are not from Legacy of the Void, and I'm not sure if these guys have even played in Legacy of the Void, maybe a couple of times.
Kanata again.
Kanata again. This is the night he comes back, the night of upsets for both Kanata and perhaps MVP here. The rest of us do vote for GuMiho. Definitely feeling like he is the favorite here, guys. But go ahead and tell your friends to jump into the stream. We're going to go into game number 2 between Afreeca and MVP. Down here in the bottom left, the Protoss player, he is Super.
And spawning here, the top right position of our map, Orbital Shipyard. As a light blue Terran, it is MVP's GuMiho.
GuMiho's got a little bit of Lucira in him, likes to stare into that, likes to get really up and close to that monitor.
We see an early probe here coming out for Super. Maybe he wants to do a gas steal or something like that, or maybe just wants to deny the expansion. We'll just have to wait and see how Super approaches this. Go, GuMiho, go.
Go, GuMiho, go.
GuMiho.
Go me go.
GuMiho, GuMiho.
Well, this probe, because... Oh, hide your face.
Trying to wait for that timing there. But yeah,
because he sent this out so early, he's going to get into the base.
I think he's positioning that for a gas. No, okay, he's just trying to harass the wall right now. I thought he was going to take gas, but it looks like he's just going to just use that scout, the probe scout rather. And nothing surprising here from both players so far in this game.
Yeah, besides that decently early scout, we are going to see this Gate Nexus core kind of build from the Protoss. Kind of greedy, but you got that backdoor base, so you are going to be safe. And especially seeing the build of GuMiho, he doesn't have to be too scared of any kind of crazy builds coming out here. No ultra aggression.
Actually, we see GuMiho is actually opting to go for the Marine, and there's a gas steal that finally comes. Yeah, he actually gets the Marine from the barracks rather than the Reaper, so he definitely wants to save up that gas to get the factory up probably a lot earlier than he wants to. We see there the reactor. So we might see that the Hellion build that we saw, I forgot, it might have been GuMiho, but he went for early Hellions. Oh no, it was TY that went the reactor Hellions to help provide some initial pressure against Zest in the GSL finals. And the minor alteration here is that there isn't that early SAV from GuMiho to block the back expansion with the engineering bay, which has been so popular from TY.
Yeah, that's the TY build, man. He's like still the only guy that I've seen that does that. Well, Super does block that gas. Back at home, he's just getting a Stalker right now. No other tech, just Warpgate research, and there is the robotics facility.
Yeah, we've been seeing a lot of Protosses these days opt to go for the robotics facility rather than the Twilight Council or Stargate. I guess seeing that Marine come out from the barracks suggests that for Super, Widow Mines are a clear possibility for GuMiho, so doesn't want to lose an Oracle if he decides to go for the Oracle. And we see the Twilight Council here from Super, so it's a very common build order what Super's doing here, popularized by Zest.
Yeah.
You have a lot of options with what he's doing right now.
This is the build that it's basically like you go into the Protoss' base and you see those two buildings and you're like, well, he could be doing 7 things. I really don't know which one it is. And unless you're getting like some other information, like how much gas he's mining, what the timing exactly of when those buildings came up, you know, you're kind of going to be in the dark. So GuMiho himself just making a ton of Marines back at home.
Yeah, he's also getting a Widow Mine as well, and actually he's going to float that Starport to that tech lab, so he might see Banshees here from him. We'll just have to wait and see if he goes for the Banshee or goes for the meta. Okay, Raven, that's actually quite interesting. Huh. Maybe he's just really scared of Dark Templars because we've seen Dark Templar drops just wreck Terrans in the past.
Yeah, especially on this map. This is like the one map where you want that Raven for sure. It's going to be nice, you know, putting down PDDs against a high number of Stalkers as well, but it's just a nice little utility unit. You could also add some extra pressure with some auto turrets if he wants to in the fights.
Yeah, also the Raven's very good at spotting observers. It does have detection, obviously, so any observers that want to peek into the base of GuMiho, you can just easily snipe them with these Marines. And we see Siege Tank, actually, so we might see some tank evac play from him.
Yeah, and this is really interesting. I'm glad you mentioned that because especially GuMiho, he's like the drop king, right? He just is all about that multitasking, about denying opponents' vision and then just going for like 2-3 drops at the same time and just out multitasking his opponent. You were talking about the tanks coming out here. He could try to go towards those backdoor rocks and start shelling that third base. Maybe this is a timing to put on pressure on this specific map in that location.
Actually, I really like this build from GuMiho. It's very safe. You got that tank there. You can use it offensively or defensively. Obviously, in this situation, we'll probably be using it defensively here to defend from the Blink Stalkers. And the Raven with PDD, it's going to stop any shots that come from the units of Super. And it's really hard to... my monitor just came off. Okay, never mind.
There it is.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys.
Oh, all the Marines coming back here. Looks like GuMiho really read this nicely. He's like, oh, you must have a Warp Prism around here at this point.
I mean, Warp Prism is pretty much essential in this matchup, especially with how skilled the Korean players are. They have the multitasking to use that Warp Prism efficiently. And behind this, though, Super is taking that third base. He's also getting the Resonating Blades for the Adepts, and we haven't seen any Dark Shrine yet. He's actually getting the 2 Forges, so he looks like he wants to get the upgrades rather than going for the high tech.
Yeah, very, very late game focused kind of macro builds here from Super. The 2 Forges finish. He doesn't start the upgrades, but he starts 5 gates instead. I hope he hasn't changed his mind at this point.
And it looks like GuMiho is just happy to sit here with these buildings. He hasn't thought of expanding at all at the moment. And this turret, and the Widow Mine kills that Warp Prism. That is really bad for Super there.
I mean, GuMiho, you were talking about his safe build. That's really, it shuts that down hardcore in the back door if you have that missile turret and the Widow Mine in that kind of location. And even the supply depots on the edge there to try to deny dropping there as well.
Actually, here comes the push here from GuMiho, and if you look at the unit count, I mean, Super barely has anything to defend from this. He's only got that 1 Mothership core. He did lose that Warp Prism full Adepts, and luckily for Super here, he has those warp gates being morphed into the map, but he doesn't really have the money to do a full warp in.
I really like the fact that he puts those down before he starts his upgrades because he kind of got a sense that GuMiho was going for this kind of 2-base play. There was no third base coming out here. He couldn't see him even trying to go for that. And so GuMiho, he's got a really nice attack coming across, but the Protoss army is pretty big here. Stim does finish up. Here's the Raven coming in.
Yeah, here comes the Raven. Then there's the auto turrets to help block that army from retreating, and he hasn't even used the Stim yet because there's no need to. He's just got a superior army count here.
And no medevacs, too. Only the first one coming out. Here's the Stim. He's going up there, snipes a bunch of those units, and all the siege tanks in the back do siege up as well, but more and more Warpins coming from the Protoss. He may be able to hold this off.
Yeah, I mean, those Marines are like so low health, but here comes the medevac's going to heal these Marines up, and
more and more tanks. Here's the first Immortal. Will definitely help in the defense.
Yeah, that Immortal's key to defending this. He needs to get those shots onto those tanks because those tanks do so much damage in siege mode, but it doesn't look like GuMiho's thinking about doing that right now. And here comes the Mothership core, but there's no photon overcharge.
Here come the probes too. No photon overcharge, no pylon, and a huge pickup from GuMiho. That's going to keep him in this one and keep those tanks alive.
Look at the army count here from Super. He only has 19 supply worth of army, And I mean, this is a sick timing here from GuMiho. He might have won this game with this attack.
Looks like it. More and more adepts are being warped in, and they do have that upgrades, but with combat shields about to finish up here, 2 tanks do die. And it looks like he may have to at least move out of the third base for now. But
yeah,
he's got his own third base back at home.
He does have these medivacks, so he can just drop all across Super's bases, and there's not really much Super can do about it. He doesn't really have any, or he's actually even up in work account, but he does have his third up, so this isn't really all in per se. And I think GuMiho did a sizable amount of damage. He's not behind or anything like that, so he can just go back and just sit back and re-macro.
Yeah, for sure. And it looks like Super wants to put on some pressure of his own, having lost a bunch of his workers there in the defense. Let's see what he can do here. There's more and more tanks coming out. He's got 3, and mainly just a Marine army here. You can see that Super very smartly adding in 3 sentries into this army. Make sure he has those Guardian Shields. Wants to force field off those Marines if he can as well. And
Liberators are nearly out here for GuMiho. He needs his Liberators to defend from this push coming from Super right now. Super's actually taken that 4th base on the left side of the map. But we see here an attack coming from Super. Let's see how much damage he'll do. Okay, he's hit the Liberators, so he's probably just gonna harass this 3rd base a bit.
I thought he was actually going to commit to that.
Yeah, I think
heavily.
that would be disastrous. But +2 for both weapons and armor is starting for GuMiho, and the concussive shell has started as well as the +1 armor. I don't think we've seen an armory yet from GuMiho, so it's going to be behind in the upgrade race.
Yeah, he's making that armory now, but he definitely does not have that 2nd engineering bay as far as I can tell. No, he has made that too, but so he is actually lining that up to get that in here. Yep. But Super definitely ahead so far in the upgrades.
And nice move here from Super. Without that Warp Prism, he's just shading in those adepts and doing a bit of damage to those SFVs. Nothing too killer from him, but looks like we might see another push here from GuMiho, and he does have those tanks in those medivacs.
He's got to be really careful. Yeah. Look at this. This is a pretty sizable Protoss army.
And that was a waste of the stim there from GuMiho, so that's not good news for him. As these Liberators are out on the map, and with the bulk of the army just fighting here at the front of GuMiho's base, these Liberators could do a lot of damage.
Finally, this Liberator gets sniped over here, but a second one coming into that 3rd base. No response so far. He is going to have to use Stalkers to deal with this.
Yeah, I'm not sure where the Mothership Core is. That Mothership Core would have been really useful with the photon overcharges, and the Blink from Super doesn't actually snipe that Medivac, which is quite unfortunate, but more Liberator harassment here from GuMiho. And this is GuMiho's bread and butter, these Liberator harassments, and later on to the game, we should be seeing some Medivac drops as well.
Yeah, for sure. Super still sticking outside of the space. He's about to have 2-2 finish up, and he's been very, very steadily just making more and more units off of 10 warp gates. So, I mean, GuMiho has to be very, very careful about how he deals with this. He has no more Liberators. He used the 2 that he had for the, the harassment at the 2 bases, but now he's got none. And if Super identifies this, he could definitely try to go for an attack up this ramp.
Yeah, I think the problem here for GuMiho is it's a ticking time bomb for him to win the game, because that 4th base is coming up for Super, and actually Super's going to go for the fight here.
Here we go. A lot of GuMiho's units are actually in the main. A lot of those tanks, though, are very, very safe, and a bunch of those adepts being shelled here, so it looks like Super wants to back off. No, he's going to take the fight, but
this is not a fight he wants to take.
Yeah.
It's like below the ramp, and those tanks do so much damage with the splash damage onto adepts, so I mean, okay, it looks like Super might be posturing for another attack here.
He was thinking about it, but it looks like he is going to delay that for now. And especially once the 2-2 finishes up for GuMiho. Uh-oh, a bunch of these tanks are all alone over here. One of them does get picked up and saved, but the other 2 do go down.
Oh, here comes the SCVs. Here come the boys. So it looks like here GuMiho is trying to push out here, using his SCVs, trying to take as much damage as you can. But GuMiho is actually doing it. He's actually pushing back Super here.
Oh, and he is going to be able to take out all the Immortals and all the Adepts. He does lose 17 SCVs in the trade, but I think he's okay doing that. He should be able to go over to this 4th base and shut it down now.
Yeah, there's a bit of dawdling there from GuMiho, but he needs to make a move now because he's lost a majority of the SCVs, as he said, and he needs to do some damage now while his army count is superior.
Yeah, I wouldn't even be chasing these Stalkers right now.
I think he needs to go for the gateways.
Yeah. Go for something.
Yeah.
Go for a base, you know.
Because the more that GuMiho tried to pre-split there to wait for the fight, but he shouldn't be waiting for the fight. He should just be trying to snipe as many bases as possible and many gateways as possible, because at the moment, this is the time to strike when his army is superior to Supers.
Yeah, bunch of the bio going up the ramp here, but look at the concave once again, and
Concave's
2-2 has finished up now.
I think this might be it. There's just too much bio here. Look at the army count.
Well,
actually, no, the Adept Warp in, actually.
Huge warp in fact. It looks like he's got 12 gates at this point, and just not enough reinforcements there for GuMiho to shut that down.
Yeah, I didn't see that warp in there, so without that warp in, GuMiho could have easily won that fight, but the warp in did come in the nick of time for Super, and actually the pendulum swung back into Super's favor in this game.
Yeah, it looks like finally he has resumed Liberator production here, I should say.
Yeah, this is a healthy amount of medevacs for this situation, but I think the problem for GuMiho here is that he's only mining off one base, while Super has his base at the 9 o'clock position that's well and dandy, running quite fine. So
yeah, this is the point where some Terrans have trouble against Protoss on this map, where the Protoss can take the 3rd base easier than the Terran, and then he can take the 4th base easier. So we'll see if the Blink Stalker's trying to go on the chase here. GuMiho trying to decide whether or not to go for the defense or the attack. Looks like he wants to defend.
Yeah, but this mining is shut down at that 9 o'clock base. But these 2 Adepts here are going to spot this orbital command land at that 3 o'clock. It's unfortunate for GuMiho there, as he needs all the mining he can get right now.
Yeah, even just 2 Adepts at this point is enough to delay a ton of mining at this point.
Yeah, so it looks like he's going to clean that up with this bio army. He's going to transfer those SCVs over, fuel it up, and I think in this situation, Liberators are nice to do probe damage, but he needs to snipe the Nexus at the 9 o'clock.
Look at this. He's actually trying to bait Super into the attack at that 4th base, but at the same time, he wants to come from behind. The majority of his army is behind this Protoss army.
Oh, here we go. Super's taking the bait. Let's see if the army of GuMiho can actually get up this ramp.
Where is it?
Where is it?
Where is it? Okay.
It's occupied by that Warp Prism.
It was attacking the Warp Prism, so he's going to lose the fight up there. And does he have enough left over to stay alive in this game?
Man, like, he doesn't. Oh, that's actually huge there from GuMiho, taking out that Warp Prism that was warping in all those Adepts. But this command center will go down for GuMiho, and GuMiho is only down. He's down to only 3 command centers right now. The orbitals.
Oh, man. Yeah, losing that Warp Prism, nothing compared to that orbital, as you were saying. And GuMiho, I feel like he may just go for one desperate final attack. He has to shut down that Protoss base. And the Protoss army is out of position right now.
Yeah, like he has to strike now while Iron's hot and while the army of of Super is out of position. But oh, he's got the sentries warped in. But he should lift up.
That's so cute. He should. He should be. It looks like he's not really paying attention at this point.
And now the army's caught up of Super, and he's going to be able to... Oh, actually, no, he gets the upper ground advantage here, and... Oh, this is actually a really close fight here.
It is pretty close. I'm not sure that GuMiho can fight this straight up. He needs to continue kiting, but he's losing unit by unit here. A lot of these units are very, very low. These medevacs are running out of energy. He's just going to stand his ground and fight, but he's losing a lot of these units.
I think he should have quicked up, because those medevacs have no energy on him, and I think this might be... Actually, no, the Marines come in from the back, and he's... Okay, he picks up, but... Oh man, this game's really tight, but GuMiho has no money.
Yeah, he has no production right now. He's making 3 Marines. And, I mean, look at the supplies, 123 to 68 now. It looks like Super wants to come into that 4th base that's been lifted from the main and shut it down.
And I don't really think that GuMiho can defend from this. Here comes the Medivacs trying to reinforce. Here comes the SCVs to tank. I mean, it's a very scrappy game that we're seeing here.
It looks like he's going to hold on.
Wow.
Somehow, some way, he holds on. And he's sniping a bunch of these very expensive units. Now his scan is going to go down. He wants to attack that base, but more Adepts coming in.
Here's the warp in, but these Adepts are just going to get eaten up by these Marines. And with that last warp in, there's no money for a Super here. Oh my god, this game is so crazy.
This is insane. GG! That's it.
Oh my god.
GuMiho holds on.
GuMi
Oh, that was unbelievable. Those upgraded, they had +3 attack to the only +2 armor, and that many Marines. He was making only Marines, and the sentries didn't have enough energy for the Guardian shields, and there were just barely enough Marines with the medevacs to hold on. It looks like Super was maybe a little bit hasty. He didn't group up his entire army.
I think that GuMiho was so lucky that those mules that were just cast onto those expansions, they got 2 trips or something like that, and then Super just cleaned it up. But with those 2 trips, you could do two cycles from your barracks, and it seems like that was enough for GuMiho to like win that game. But that game was crazy.
Yeah, to be honest, I expected GuMiho to stomp Super in this one, but Super put up a really great fight. I have to say, he defended really nicely. He didn't lose all too much. He pulled the probes right when that initial attack came across, that timing from GuMiho, and he held on. And he made it a really, really interesting and close game, but just barely not able to close that one out.
There were a lot of positioning errors from Super during that game. There was also a lot of mistakes that he did where he lost warp prisms and such. But our next game will be Patience against Ryong.
Yeah, going to be another PVT here. And that is going to be on King Sadum Station. Going to be a nice little fun one there. We'll see if Patience can keep Afreeca's hopes alive against MVP, but as is the way of things, guys, we are going to take a short 3-minute break before we get to game number 3. Stay tuned.